All right, let's take one more call. Let's go to Laura in Los Angeles. Laura, how are we doing?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Same. I'm doing same.
Good.
And I see you're from Los Angeles, and so I just automatically, stereotypically assume things are extra hard for you guys right now. Y'all doing okay?
Yeah, I'm a nurse, so.
So no, you're not doing okay. You call my show and you're lying, Laura. My gosh, a nurse in Los Angeles. So tell me how we're doing.
Struggling a little bit. I definitely am feeling totally tapped out.
Just fried, huh?
Empty tank, and my tolerance level for pretty much everything is at a zero.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Hey, can I tell you?
For ways to stress manage.
You earned it, okay?
Yeah.
I hate that for you, but you earned it. Full stripes, right?
Yeah.
So for folks who don't know what it's like being a nurse the last 12 months, give us some insight.
Oh, wow. It is very, very challenging, especially the last couple of months, since Thanksgiving. It's just been, I know I'm not supposed to swear on the radio, but, it's been a show.
Yeah.
With an S and an H.
Yeah. You can say what you want to. It's all good. This is a podcast, man. Doesn't even count here.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that can make your toes curl when you hear about it and you see these people, and it's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's genuinely horrifying. And then in the same day that you have just coded a woman who is your age and was chatting with you about her kids 10 minutes earlier, and in the same day you have a neighbor say to you, is it really that bad? I mean, I didn't feel like it's that bad.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating, and it's demoralizing. It's depressing. It's disgusting. It's all the D's except Delony.
Hey, look at that. Hey, you know what? Now it's Delony too. You've brought me into this, Laura. Thanks a lot. So how are you navigating this?
I am struggling. I am definitely normally a very mellow person. I'm pretty quiet, and I manage stress in my own dysfunctional ways that don't affect most people around me.
What is that? What is
lately, that? Eating.
Okay.
Yeah. And, just mostly eating. But lately, I've just been zero tolerance for my kid, my husband, people on the freeway. It's LA, so that's pretty much an everyday thing, but it's worse now. And then, unfortunately, I had a patient the other day who was very ungrateful and insulting even, and it took everything I had not to just go off on her. And that's not me. I feel really terrible for these people, and I understand that she's upset because of her situation, not because of me. And I'm not taking it personally, but it's hard to not internalize it.
I'm sorry, man. Hey, I'm like, for real, I'm sorry that you're doing this, that you're going through this. This was all fun and good, and everyone was chanting nurses' names the first 3 or 4 months in, and I don't think anybody expected this to still be going to full tilt a year later. That's a long time to live in the trauma of other people and to live in the politicalization of the hands you're holding every day, right?
Right.
It's a nightmare, right? And then, oh, by the way, you're still a mom too, right? And then I don't know, once a month you got a husband that's like, so tonight is the night, and you just want to stab him in the eye with a fork, right? Oh, Laura. So what does a full tank look like for you? What does, take me back 2 years ago, and what I want you to do is this. Number one, I'm gonna tell you things you already know this, right? That being angry at somebody on the highway is just like that old AA saying, right? You're just poisoning yourself, hoping somebody else is going to die, and they're not, right?
Totally.
You know that. And I also know that when our brain processes are trying to protect us and we stop hearing the alarms, they get louder and louder. And what your brain's trying to tell you is, hey, we've had enough. We got to tap out for a minute.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know if you've got a sabbatical program or if you've got an ability to walk in and tell your boss, hey, I need a minute. This is a lot. And by a minute, I need 2 weeks. But nurses are warriors, and you don't want to leave your fellow nurses because you know someone's going to have to pick up the slack and all that stuff. So walk me through, what does it look like for you? I want to leave this call with a plan for you is what I want to do. Because there's a bajillion people who are just like you, Laura, and you're such a gift. And whether they're nurses, whatever it is they're doing, they are struggling and they've had enough. They can't do any more. And then we're saying, well, maybe till June and maybe till July and maybe in the fall, if people will chill out and stop being dumb and then we, it's just like, I can't do anymore, right? So let's get a plan together. So tell me, what does it look like? What is when your tank's full?
I don't even remember. I'm a terrible patient, like I don't pay attention to myself. I don't take care of myself. So I don't really. Why not, Laura? It's been a very, very difficult few years, actually, because my daughter was really sick when she was a baby. And then we almost lost our house in the fires in 2018. And, it just seems to be piling one on top of the other. And then with COVID, it just feels like I don't know how to find my way back to feeling that sense of calm. And so here's how I like to what you're experiencing is trauma all over the place, right? And you know that. And we often think of trauma as a gunshot or a car wreck. And you're experiencing it with a sick kid who may not make it. You're experiencing it with your house burning down, your neighborhood's on fire, literally. You're experiencing it with the political mess. You're experiencing it with all the secondary traumatic stress of being a nurse. And your body's telling you, I've had enough. I got to stop. And the thing that that I know, that we all know about our bodies is if you won't stop, it will stop you at some point, right? Absolutely. And it's showing cracks all over the place. So what does processing this trauma look like? What does getting those bricks of a fire in your backpack and a sick kid and all of the marriage stress that goes with this and not being able to see your friends and trying to solve everything with gummy candies? That's what I do. And with bourbon. And what do you do to get those bricks out of your backpack? Because here's the thing, you have to start taking care of yourself, or I'm going to call you out and tell you that you don't love your patients like you say you do, because you can't take care of them unless you're okay. You got to put your oxygen mask on first. So what does that look like? I guess I probably need to enforce taking more time for myself, not spending the time that I do have to think about things, to worry. I spend a lot of time worrying about stuff. But that worry is just part of your alarm system, right? And that sucker's spun out. What does it look like what shift do you work? My day shift, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So what does it look like to get off of work and to sit down with your husband and say, hey, I need some help around the house. I'm kind of cracking. And he's going to smile and say, yeah, we know. And no, actually, my husband's wonderful. He cleans more than I do. Oh, that's awesome. So you got a great, I have a very good support system partner. Awesome. Family. So what does it look like? Well, how about this? I won't put you on the spot anymore. I'll give you some ideas, okay? Tell me, please. I'll give you some ideas. Number one, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna call out everyone listening to this. If you don't take care of yourself, you are saying, I do not care about those who love me. And that's a mean way to say that, but I've got to start being more upfront to people who are working in the hard lives of other people. And I've got to say that to myself. If I choose to not take care of myself, I am choosing to be less of a good dad and choosing to be less of a good husband and a good connected community member. I've got to put some of my wellness and health needs first. Otherwise, people around me are not going to get my best self. And so what does that mean? That means on certain days, when my alarm goes off, my wife's hand will slide under the covers. Not where you think, Laura. She will just grab my hand, and we will sit there and hold hands for the first 4 or 5 minutes that we both wake up. And occasionally we'll just touch feet. This isn't a sexual thing. This is just skin-to-skin contact. Okay? Yeah. And there's all kinds of physiological and biochemical research that comes with that, but it just is a grounding. It lets your body know I'm tethered and I'm okay. You are also blessed. You got an awesome old man that lives, a husband that just loves you, right? And so that's the best. The second thing is you're not going to like this, and I don't like it either. This is me, there's a pot talking in the kettle here. We've got to take care of our nutrition.
We have to. We've got to fuel our bodies in the right way. And that may mean 2 or 3 weeks of just utter hell, getting off of sugar and getting out of some of the cyclical nonsense of more grains, more sugar, more grains, more sugar, crash, whatever. And that may mean a fun adventure of sitting down with your husband saying, hey, we gotta wrap some stuff up because I'm coming. I can't keep putting water in the gas tank, right? The next thing is you got to get off of work, and especially you get off at 7, you're going to have to be militant about staying away from screens, and you're going to have to be militant about doing active things. And that's hard after you've been on your feet all day. But it might just be simple, like taking a walk with him, saying, hey, will you make me take a walk and hold my hand while we walk? And if you can get away with it, walk around in the grass and walk with no shoes on. And there's something about the grounding effect of being still and being present that being barefoot and holding somebody's hand does for you. The other thing is where you can, I know this is exhausting. Again, you're lucky you got a guy that's stepping in, is have people over to your house or go places where you can. I don't even know what the rules are where you are. But you've got to get with community and not talk about nursing stuff and not talk about coding people and not talk about death and not talk about sickness and not talk about politics, but just talk about life, just talk about laughter, just talk about whatever. But learn to practice to be a person again. And this is, again, the pot talking to the kettle, man, because people who work in trauma, they all hang out with people who work in trauma because we're the only ones.
Exactly what I was going to say is I don't really know anybody.
I know. So, Laura, you have to. And it's going to be awkward and weird. Listen, when I moved to Nashville, I knew the science. I knew the data, and it was super weird. You know what I did? I had two couples at my house. And me and my wife had them. They were at our kitchen table. And I said, this is going to be weird, but we would like to ask you to be our friends. There was an awkward silence. And it was like, hey, here's what this means. We're going to show up. And when you need something at 2 a.m., we're going to show up. And we may call you. And we'd love to have you involved in our kids' life. And it ended up being an awkward, messy, beautiful conversation. Because here's what I know. My tendency is to retreat and only hang out with people who do graphic, gross things for a living. And I know the science tells me that trauma is cumulative. And so when I get home and I play Fortnite, or I get home and I watch some awesome Netflix show that is just about serial killers and murderers, and then I get the podcast, another serial killer podcast when I'm working out, all that is just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma, dude. And my brain can't take it anymore, right?
Totally. Yes, absolutely.
And then the only thing that feels better, makes things go away, is pizza and the whole 2-liter of Coke. And then the only thing the next morning that feels better is starting the whole stupid cycle over again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just would love to be at your house and you have this conversation. Tonight, you're going to tell your husband, starting tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off, I want you to reach under the covers and hold my hand, pervy. Hold my hand, and then I want you to slide your leg over, and I want to just touch our bare feet, and we're just going to lay there for 5 minutes. And you can say, some wackadoo on the radio said to do this. And then tell him, you're responsible for making me an awesome breakfast, and it's got to be something with high fat and high protein that's healthy for me. That's not just going to make my blood sugar crash at 10 and make me hit the vending machines. And I want you to text each other throughout the day and check in with one another. If you got friends that you can text funny, silly things to, awesome. Hug that little one. When you get home, go for a walk. Don't just plop down. I want you to go for a walk, barefoot if you can, hold hands if you can. Here's the final thing. Either in the morning or in the evening, I think for you in the evening it's going to be better. So I want you to start keeping a gratitude journal. End every day with 5 things I am grateful for. You can name patients. You can maybe give them a pseudonym in your book just to be HIPAA compliant, but you can name patients. You can name a doctor that helped, a fellow nurse. You can name your kid. You can name your husband. You can name whatever you want to, but just begin to orient yourself away from all I see is people dying. All I see is people trying to politicize hurt. All I see is people trying to tell me that I'm crazy. All I see is a sweet mom that I'm talking to about her kids, and then she just passes away on me right in front of me. And all I see that over and over. I want you to begin to orient yourself towards looking for beauty, looking for joy, looking for the good, because there is good. We just have to go find it during the season. And I'll end it with this. If you know a nurse, if you know a man, somebody in the healthcare professions right now, I'm just calling on everybody to get this. Go do something nice for them today. Call them, pay for a meal, go over to their house and sit on the front porch, bring coffee. I don't care what you bring. Show up and be in the lives of people who are in the nursing profession, nurse practitioners, people who work in hospitals. They are just out of gas, and this thing's not stopping. That we've got to have them whole, and that starts with us being good community members and reaching out. So, Laura, thank you so much. I want you to try that. Give me a month, right? So give me a month and circle back and let me know how it goes. And you can say, like, hey, I did all that stuff, and I still hate my life, and you're an idiot, Delony. And I'll play that on the radio. That'd be fun, but it's not going to happen that way.